So leaving your heart and your feelings to one side, listening to you, if he asked for your advice in the morning, based on what you've seen yourself down in Australia and what you're seeing here every day, you'd probably advise him to stay put.
Oh, Jesus, Joe, if he came back here, I'd definitely advise him, because I've seen 3 weeks of what it's like. Now, I was on the sideline watching. He still had a week of work when I was there, and come home at 5 o'clock in the evening, brown as a berry, the whole evening to relax, his day's work done, a great weekend promised. Like, Jesus, Joe, where would you get it? You know, living is easy out there, and health-wise and everything. I never felt as healthy out there. And when I come back here, the damp weather, oh, Jesus, everything is wrong in this country, Joe. Everything. It's a crying sin.
And tell me about your second son, because he had to leave as well.
He was gone. He went to work in Nigeria on a 2-year contract.
And why? Again, couldn't get work here?
No work here. He's an engineer, and he's living in Kerry. Got married 2 years ago, living in Kerry, and got this contract and went out. And it was hard going for him out there in this place. Anyway, it was hard, and the weather, you know, to get all this rain and what have you.
And was he homesick?
No, Joe.
No.
He was thinking of earning a few bob and, you know, having it for when he came back to pay bills. And, you know, now I Skype him and I talk to him, and he was older than John, you know.
Yeah.
It was grand, and they're well prepared to go and work and hard work. So I'm very proud of them for that.
All right, stay where you are, because I want to say hello again to Brendan Corrigan. Brendan is a former colleague of ours here at the station. He was with us on the show a number of weeks back. And Brendan, in your letter recently to the Irish Independent, you made the point that grass, or the grass, is often a lot greener on the so-called faraway hills, and people like you who wanted to leave, you didn't have to as such, you wanted to leave, you're glad that you did leave, and not only are you enjoying yourself abroad, but you can't wait to go back.
Well, good morning, Joe, and everybody else. Yeah, I mean, the grass is always greener. Listening to Mary, you'd be wondering, so why is there anyone left in the country at all? We should be all heading off. There's plenty of free space in Australia as well, so they could take a lot more Irish people, I'd say.
Yeah, but in your letter, let me just... This is a letter that appeared in the national newspapers this week. You say, yes, for some immigration is a terrible thing, yet for a vast number of young, well-educated and ambitious people, a group I include myself in, having the option to go overseas and find decent, fulfilling employment in line with our skills is something to celebrate as well as being a privilege.
Yeah, and I mean, you had, what was her name, Sister Shannonside on earlier, talking about, you know, having positive stories in the media, and sometimes I think just Irish media tends to make this immigration thing out to be negative. And for the likes of Mary and for the people left behind, I understand when you have to see your sons or daughters. Of course, I don't have my own children, so it's something I don't really know yet, but I imagine it is very tough to say goodbye to them. But, of course, the world nowadays is much smaller. We were talking about this before as well, Joe, with Skype and all that. And flights as well. Mary, as she said, she loves going down to Australia to meet her son. And it's pretty, relatively straightforward, easy to get down there these days. Look, Ireland, I see Ireland for myself as a bit of a feeder nation. Obviously, not everybody has to leave, but a good number of us have to leave. And I'm not letting our politicians off the hook or anything like that. But without massive natural resources, we're always dependent on outside investment, really, and big multinationals coming in. And because we're open to the free market economy, we're in competition with other countries. And a lot of the plus points we had maybe 10, 15 years ago that preceded the Celtic Tiger, the false boom, whatever you want to call it, a lot of those advantages are gone now. Our wages are probably far too high in comparison to Eastern European countries and other countries maybe in a similar vein. So that feeder nation that we are, it's our youth that are the feeder nation now. And I think the one thing that the government could do is make sure to continue to give us a decent education at subsidised prices so that we have a competitive advantage.
But hang on a second. Oh, my God, here we go now, completely different tangent. Why the hell should we, the taxpayers, educate people like you to run off to faraway countries. We need you here at home, do we not?
Well, I mean, we do come back, and we will spend our money when we come back. I've been back the last 3 months, not spending as much as I'd like to. But, I mean, the world is fluid now, in fairness. I mean, look, Joe, you're saying, why should we, the taxpayer, be funding it? So where are we getting our money from now, anyway? We're all borrowing money.
But, like, you know, we hear so much about the brain drain. We hear so much, you know, we spend a fortune educating our doctors. We're told they're the best doctors in the world. We educate them, and then they disappear. We educate engineers, they disappear. We educate teachers, and they go, and, you know, let's face it, Michael Noonan got hammered for this, and so did I at the time. I would argue the vast majority of young people, with respect to, for example, Mary's children, they want to go. They want to travel. They want to see the world. They want an adventure. And good luck to them, by the way.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. I mean, that's what we're saying. And yeah, as Mary said initially, her children were a bit reluctant to go. And I think the first time that you do head off, especially maybe if some people go and then come back and go again, I mean, the first cut is the deepest, as they say. And it can be tough to leave behind your door initially. But I think once you get used to it now, I kind of feel I'm a dab hand at it. Now, I suppose my travelling, though, and I have a bit more of a peripatetic lifestyle, we'll say. That's not pathetic, by the way, peripatetic. But I've been travelling and working in a sense, whereas Mary's case and a lot of other Irish people were, you know, heading to Australia or Canada or even just Britain next door, where they go specifically to find work and kind of set up a new lifestyle out there and have their life out there.
Right, but isn't the paradox here, the government, they're actually benefiting politically from immigration, in that the numbers are falling, you know, for whatever reason. It creates a sort of a feel-good factor. They will argue they're creating 3,000 jobs a week, but when you do the sums and the numbers, the new jobs they're creating, not enough to fill demand from the unemployment or from those who are unemployed, but add that with the immigration figures and happy days, we're doing a great job here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult one, though, because you just can't invent decent jobs. And, you know, and I make the point, decent jobs. And I'm at a stage in my life where I can still take a gamble on my future. I'm not absolutely stuck. Because, I mean, is this a first world problem that we're discussing right now? We're making immigration a problem. For other people, it's something that they would love. And there may be a number of people in this country that might want to leave, and they don't even have the financial reserves to leave. I mean, to go to Australia, I believe, to get a visa, you have to have at least 3,000 Australian dollars in your bank account before you even go. So it's not even an option open to some other people in the world. So
all right, but the good news is, and it will be good news for parents, because parents, naturally, they worry all the time. The point is, we're better prepared. We're armed, are we not now, to the teeth with an education, so that when we go abroad, when we leave for whatever reason, the chances are, as you said in your letter, faraway hills are a lot greener. Mary!
Yes, Joe?
Read me the poem. Go on.
Oh, Joe, I'm dying to tell you this.
Right.
It's funny. You know me a lot.
I know you a long time, so I'm dying to hear this poem.
Oh, yeah, I'm dying to read it to you. All right, Joe, goes like this. A parent's trip to our emigrated son in Australia. It was the 2nd of September that I was booked to fly from Dublin Airport, my husband and I. Jesus, Mary, I thought, 19 and a half hours to fly. I made a promise I'd go to Oz, and now I'm doing just that. But, Joe, sometimes funny things happen to me. When I got to Dubai, oh, what a beautiful place. I took out my camera and I started to snap. I even got a sheik to pose for me. Then all of a sudden, near the departure gate, the security man came shouting at me. Show me that photo and delete it fast. You'll get a hefty fine and be put in jail. But Jesus, Joe, I hadn't even made it to the plane. 9.5 hours later, when we left Dubai, into Perth, we did fly. It was 1:30 in the morning, and I was full of excitement. I'd soon see John. Our cases to be checked when we were called one side. Oh, Jesus, nothing to declare comes to mind. Me casserole mix and me marifat peas were said, you can't bring them in. She said we could go. I started to run. Soon I'd see my son. Dreams do come true, Joe. Perth is beautiful. I love my time there. No wonder John wants to stay. He has a good job and money too, and sunshine 9 months of the year. If I was young, Joe, I'd stay there too. I left the land down under, the land of full and plenty, and returned to Ireland that's running on empty. If I was young, Joe, I'd stay there too, and to hell with Enda Kenny and his crew. There you go, Joe.
All right. Look, we'll leave it at that. Mary and Brendan,
Right, Joe.
thank you so much for joining us on the programme this morning.